My neighbor's 17-year-old daughter stole my husband's shirt when she was visiting our house. To provide context, my husband and I recently moved into a new house. We quickly became friends with our next-door neighbors. They have a 17-year-old who acts weird around my husband. For example, she'd greet my husband by giving him a kiss on the cheek while just shakes my hand. She always stands near their living room window in the evening when my husband's home. She'd come over with food she cooked and ask me to tell her if my husband liked it or not. She'd sit next to him whenever her family visit. She wanted to show him her room alone when we visited them but he politely declined. He told me she asked for his personal social media account but he politely refused to give it to her. Her behavior is obviously inappropriate and it wasn't just me and my husband who noticed. Her mother did too. And I was surprised when she told me that her daughter, probably, has a teenage crush on my husband, which, as she claimed, is totally normal and harmless. My husband just laughs it off and says that it's typical teenage behavior. I trust him and he keeps me informed of whatever she does. I tried to limit contact with our neighbors as much as possible. We stopped coming over but she and her mom visit with other neighbors where they're forced to act polite. Last week I had a small gathering with the ladies from the neighborhood and my neighbor and her daughter weren't invited but came anyway. The guests were sitting in the living room the entire time. My neighbor's daughter kept asking when my husband was coming home in front of the ladies and they noticed but her mom quickly shut it down. I frequented the kitchen to prepare foods and drinks to serve and had a couple of my guests helping out. When I came back from the kitchen I found that my neighbor's daughter had already left. I asked her mom and she told me her daughter had some homework to do and wanted to leave early. I thought nothing of it. The next day my husband kept looking for his work shirt and couldn't find it. We looked for it but it was gone. I was confused because this is one of the shirts my husband wears regularly and I was 100% sure I didn't throw it away and I vividly remember seeing it in the closet the day before. In the evening I got a visit from my neighbor and she had my husband's shirt with her. I was puzzled. I asked where she got it and she told me that her daughter took it from our closet and sneaked out with it and swore up and down that she didn't know till later because her daughter was hiding it and her mother discovered it an hour ago. I got very angry and pointed out that her daughter's behavior was way out of line and that this is considered stealing even if it's just a shirt. Not to mention basically the harassment towards me and my husband. She went on making excuses for her, saying she's a teenager letting her emotions dictate her behavior and that soon she'll grow out of it. I flat out told her neither she nor her daughter are welcome into my house after she basically entered the bedroom without permission and stole the shirt. She said I had every right to react this way and again apologized for her daughter's behavior and again calling it harmless crush that we shouldn't take seriously. She kept apologizing either by sending messages or calling. I haven't talked to her in person since then. But her husband asked my husband what was going and my husband didn't tell him. Neither did I. My husband agreed that was unacceptable behavior but told me that I was too harsh on our neighbor and should have just accepted the apology without saying hurtful things to her and telling her she's not welcome along with her daughter. But I don't trust her daughter after what she's done. My neighbor got the other ladies from the neighborhood to talk Yomi into forgiving her and her daughter but I keep refusing to discuss it. I feel so mad at the amount of disrespect I'm seeing and I'm having hard time setting boundaries since everyone keeps telling me let it go. Even my husband. She's obsessed. You need to make sure your husband has zero contact with her and is never alone with her. She'll probably try to seduce him next and may cry rape or sexual assault when he rejects her. Also, cameras are your best friend now. Install them everywhere. Inside and out. She's 17, not 5. It's very alarming that her mother is treating her like a toddler and refusing to have her accept responsibility for anything. You did everything right. This girl is 10 shades of creepy, and even if she can't force herself on your husband, I have no doubt she could potentially try and implicate him in a situation. My advice is to go over to the neighbor's home with your husband, and have your husband tell her in no uncertain terms that he is not interested. No more kissing on the cheek, no more talking to him, etc. She is only 17 and that cuts her a little bit of slack, but even when I was 17 it never crossed my mind to do anything like this. Cut this off now. What she did isn't harmless and her mother is excusing it. You and your husband need to be a united front. Tell the father about his daughter's troubling behavior, including the theft, and that you expect it to stop. It sounds like she's weaving a romance in her mind. This isn't safe for your husband. He should never be alone with her. Mother and daughter came uninvited to your gathering. I can see why the girl doesn't respect boundaries. This 17-year-old knows exactly what she is doing. Don't let anyone convince you she's not old enough to understand that what she's doing is wrong on so many levels. She knows it's wrong, so now she can deal with being banned from your house. Play stupid games and win stupid prizes. Personally, I would have told the husband what was going on when he asked, considering his wife is not taking her daughter's behavior seriously. For the record, you can forgive them and still keep any boundaries you want in place, such as they're no longer allowed in your home. It might get the rest of your neighbors off your back. I wouldn't be so concerned about the teenage crush aspect. 17-year-olds are just narcissistic little humans. She doesn't realize that this man she likes has a life and family he loves. She can't yet realize the big differences between them. She probably sees herself as grown up as you guys are. But, the fact that she snuck around your house and stole something, that cannot be tolerated. You're right in forbidding her from your house. If she had the guts to do it once, better believe she'll do it again. This is where she takes her crush too far. Makes me wonder what else she has stolen or what other creepy things she's done with other crushes she's had. 18F here, that's some gross fucking behavior, but if I'm being honest, I don't think she'll stop, especially if her own mom is dismissing it as a harmless crush. You gotta ban her from your house or something so she doesn't do more creepy stuff. Oh no, my daughter has a harmless teenage crush on your husband and she stole his shirt, but she doesn't know what she's doing, she's only 17 blah blah. Bitch, she tried to hide the shirt. She knew exactly what she was doing. My husband insists I wear full makeup whenever we're intimate and I'm not comfortable with it. My F27 husband M32 and I have been married for over a year now. I often don't wear makeup except on occasions. I have no experience with it, I don't know how to apply it properly, and quite frankly, I'm not interested in learning anything about makeup. But the problem started when me and my husband were attending a wedding 2 weeks ago and he said he liked my sort of heavy makeup and said I was the most beautiful woman at the wedding. He kept complimenting how my face looked. Note my cousin did my makeup as I said above, I nothing about it and I'm not interested in learning. After we got back from the wedding, my husband asked me to not remove my makeup and I ended up actually sleeping in it after we had sex that night. I woke up looking like a joker the next morning. My face felt sticky, the pillow was a mess. It was a disaster. My husband kept joking when I started looking for my lashes, asking if I was looking for my eye. He then told me that he loved my new look and asked me to from now on, that night, wear full makeup whenever we're intimate. I was taken aback. I told him it won't work for several reasons. A, I don't know how to properly apply full heavy makeup. My cousin did my makeup that day. B, sleeping with makeup on hurts my skin and gives me uncomfortable feeling. C, sleeping with makeup on ruins the pillow covers. And D, does he no longer like me without makeup? If so, then this is a problem. I was worried. We've gone back and forth on this issue and I've come to realize that this in fact is a weird kink of his that I'm not comfortable with, but he's been sweet talking me into giving in every time and having me do makeup at the salon every other day. I don't want to do it, but he'd say that I'd do it if I love him and again sweet talk me into getting what he wants. I feel dumb, but seriously. I'm super uncomfortable with this. Just the thought of having to wear full makeup every other night and sleeping in it is uncomfortable and obviously very unhealthy. I've read some scary facts about the damage makeup can do to the skin. It's only been 2 weeks and I feel my skin has been damaged already. I feel like this is not who I really am and my husband likes it, which is sad because he always says he loves me the way I am. But last night he got mad when he saw that I had no makeup on like I said I would and argued that I don't care about making him happy and taking his feelings, opinions into consideration. I told him that wearing makeup isn't my thing and more importantly, my skin has started to become dry and my eyes are becoming affected and now look reddish because of sleeping with mascara. He won't even let me remove it after we're done. And insist I remove it in the morning. I tried to reason with him, but he chose to make this his hill to die on and refused to be with me in the same room, saying I lied to him for not going to the salon to do my makeup. He kept sulking and didn't say much except letting me know what I did wrong. I go mad and called him immature for pitching a fit, then giving me silent treatment just cause he didn't what he wants. I'm at the end of my rope here and reasoning with hasn't worked. Anytime someone says, "You do it if you loved me," they are manipulating you. He's affecting your mental and physical health, considering he won't let you take it off before going to bed, and it causes you skin damage. I don't want to be the person who screams divorce, but he's not respecting you, your body, or your wishes. Couples counseling is the bare minimum here. Your husband can go fuck himself. While wearing full-on makeup. If you're not comfortable with it, then don't do it. I'd seriously ask him to wear a full face of makeup and refuse to allow him to remove it until morning and see how comfortable he feels. He's being both controlling and childish at the same time. If you feel like compromising, then maybe agree to wear makeup on odd occasions, but you will be removing it before you go to sleep. Or you could do what I do and tell him to FK off. But I'm a straight-talking mature lady who doesn't take any shit from her partner thumbs up. He'd say that I'd do it if I love him. What a manipulative assh. I hope this isn't real. Tell him to buy you a Ferrari. If he loved you, he'd do it. Don't do something you don't want to do. And you always have to do it with the light on. Maybe here or there, but this is an expensive kink and is ruining your skin. That has to be another compromise. You wash it off immediately afterwards. Otherwise divorce him. C. If this is the hill he wants to die on, then dead the marriage. His kink requires two consenting adults. Stop giving into the sweet talk. Sit him down and lay it all out. No if and or buts. He needs to stop pressuring or punishing you for not wanting this. If this is the first time he's acted this entitled, selfish, and controlling, I'd be wondering if he has a brain tumor. I would straight up divorce a man who thought it was more important for me to act as his sex doll than to respect me as his equal partner in life. Stop putting makeup on, hun. He can't force you. Don't have sex with him. If he doesn't want the real you, he doesn't want you. He doesn't deserve you. Take power back here. My boyfriend copied my code and I failed the course, so I cannot forgive him. Edit. Just for a clarification, what I mean by taking the full blame is my taking part in this plagiarism scheme. He will also be failing the course. My boyfriend and I have been together for approximately 8 months and we never had serious problems before. I suffer from bipolar disorder and panic disorder, which makes my life very hard to manage, but I have been going to my psychiatrist for 2 years now and I am stable. I am a student with 4.0 and I work really hard to prove myself. This semester, we took the same introductory coding lesson with my boyfriend. This was a required course, and because he is more knowledgeable in coding, he offered to help me understand it. He suffers from bad anxiety and ADHD. After the midterm, he was devastated to hear that he got a bad score. He cried for days. So, when he begged me for days for my help, I just could not say no. When I offered help, I didn't mean that he could copy from me, just take influence and write different codes. I made sure to let him know that this would result in plagiarism issues and he accepted. Well, I got the email from my instructor saying that they have caught plagiarism in my code. He had copied and pasted the same code that wasn't even working. Then, I asked to see his other answers to other questions and he just copied it all from me. Moreover, he waited until after I emailed my professor that there has to be a mistake to tell me that he had copied all of my answers. Which put me in a tight spot with the professor. During the exam, when he solved a question and shared it with me, I told him that I could not come up with a new way to approach it and didn't want to get him accused of plagiarism. I did not complete that question. I am fully taking the blame of aiding him and taking place in a plagiarism situation. I will be failing the course. I have learnt my lesson in that regard and I will not be doing it again. The problem is that I can't not blame him for taking advantage of my help and lying to me after he was caught. I do realize that I am also to blame in this situation, but I can't help but blame him for this as well. I knowingly helped him, but I also feel like my good intentions were used here. He looked into my eyes while I was crying, devastated, and he still lied to me. I just don't know what to do and what to even tell him. He said that he didn't even remember submitting the plagiarized version because he was in such a panic state, but I have also been in that spot. I chose not to gamble our grades and possible punishment. On top of it all, I have been in a mixed state for a few weeks now and he knows how stress affects my mood. I will have to talk to my psychiatrist about upping my dosage of meds because this situation is making me spiral. Please understand that I know that I am to blame and I knowingly helped. I will be suffering the consequences and have told my professor the truth and came clean. What I am asking here is for advice on how to approach my boyfriend. What should I do? Is me blaming him selfish since I accepted to help? I just need some advice. You fucking serious? He copied you. He plagiarized you. And you're asking for help so you can keep sabotaging yourself, for someone you've only known for 8 months? He is to blame for this. Don't help him with your coursework again, period. Just don't. You can't trust him. He is risking your future because of his problems. You really want to sacrifice everything for someone like that? Why? He showed he is untrustworthy. Break up. Seriously. He is endangering your entire future. If that is not worth breaking up, nothing is. Firstly, if you can prove the work was yours, anything time-stamped or some such, you should contact your professor and insist on a regrade. Secondly, your boyfriend is using his mental health to lie to you, blaming his anxiety and such, lying to your face and impacting your college course. He's being a horrible person. Lastly, don't blame yourself for offering to help. That doesn't mean he should have plagiarized your work. He's at fault here, not you. Stand up for yourself, refuse to help him, and focus on your studies. You deserve better, in my opinion. He exploited you, plagiarized you, and I suspect played up his mental health to effectively make you do the work for him. Is me blaming him selfish? Not in the slightest. It is entirely on him, not you. You would be an absolute fucking idiot if you didn't report and dump him. Why on earth are you taking the blame for your boyfriend plagiarizing from you? You need to make it clear to your professor that he stole your work, not vice versa. And dump the BF. He doesn't care about you, or he would never have done this, and when caught he would not have lied to throw you under the bus. I can't say this enough: tell the professor the truth and get your grade adjusted. Who cares what happens to the shitty, lying, thieving BF? Everyone's already said what needs to be said, but the frosting on the cake is him blaming his actions on a panic state. But let's be real here. He was lying and guilt-tripping you. You don't just accidentally copy someone's whole work and submit it. That doesn't make him evil, but he's certainly a selfish jerk and you should cut him off. Sorry, but I hope you mean ex-boyfriend. There's nothing wrong with you supporting each other in your studies. The lying about plagiarism was careless is what's wrong. What should have happened here, and still can, is that your boyfriend should call the professor and tell them exactly what happened and that you should not be penalized. Not owning up to this mistake, and coincidentally putting you in a worse place, is the actions of someone who is cowardly and weak. Does he want to be that guy? He needs to fix this, not you. If he can't fix it, then you deserve someone who would, because this is not what a relationship looks like. I mean, a friend wouldn't even behave this way. Heck, I don't even think a classmate would. My husband called me a doomba for suggesting that he visit the dentist for his toothache. My husband, M34, and I, F29, have been married for 10 months. He has a habit of staying up late at night to play video games, and he doesn't brush his teeth before going to bed. In the past couple of weeks he's been complaining about toothache, which has been causing him so much pain, and as a reaction, he'd lash out and lose his temper easily and over minor issues. I've been advising him to visit the dentist, but he says he's too busy with work and can't find the time. I offered to contact the clinic and make an appointment for him, but he told me not to because he might be busy with work. He works long shifts every day and gets home at 8 p.m. and stays up till 3–4 a.m. playing video games. Last night he got home from work at 8 p.m. He came into the kitchen complaining that his toothache got worse and went on a rant about how terrible the pain was and wondering why he'd suffer from toothache all of a sudden. I suggested that he start brushing his teeth or at least use mouthwash before going to bed, and explained that his lack of oral care just to play games could be the reason behind his toothache. He out of the blue lashed out asking, "What, are you a doctor?" I said no, just that not brushing his teeth was what causing him toothache. That's it. He told me to please not talk to him when he's in pain so he won't say something he'd regret later. I asked why? Because I was stating a fact? He just shook his head and went to grab some ice cubes to put them in a bag and use it to treat his pain. I told him I used the ice cubes earlier and didn't refill the tray. He got upset and said that I was deliberately doing this to torture him. I told him to put an end for his pain by suggested he take Advil, painkiller, till the next day, then he could go to the dentist. He yelled and called me a dumbass because I forgot that he had to work all day and won't have time to visit the dentist. This made me so hurt and angry. I told him that him being in pain doesn't give him the right to lash out and call me offensive names. He said he already warned me about not talking to him when he's in pain and that this was on me for pushing him, and added he already has told me he had work several times before but I wasn't paying attention. I asked him if he told his boss and coworkers to shut up as well. He threw the empty ice tray at the sink, then walked out. I asked where he was going and he said he was going to hell. I feel horrible. I just sat down crying for a bit and he texted me 2 hours later apologizing and letting me know that he was going to spend the night at his brother's place. I feel like I'm not being treated with respect by him, but he keeps saying that this is how he acts when he's in pain and says that I'd best give him space instead of arguing with him, but I wasn't arguing. I was suggesting that he visit the dentist. Besides, he kept blaming me. I'm wondering if anyone's spouse behaves the same when in pain and discomfort and whether I should just move on from this argument. He's literally just mad because you're right, he needs to take accountability and grow up. Tears of joy. Wow, no. He sounds so immature. I'm 19 and I wouldn't tolerate this kind of childish behavior in someone I was dating. I've been irritable from severe pain from surgery and I'd still never react that way to someone trying to help me. He needs to grow up and start brushing his teeth, and not take out his emotions on other people. If I were you, I'd straight up leave. You don't deserve this. I don't like how he said he earned you to stop talking. That's what an abuser says. I only did it because you wouldn't shut up, you better watch this one. He sounds unstable. He's a big scared baby about seeing a dentist. Don't attempt to empathize or placate this child. Show no emotions about him and go about your life. He needs to be kicked to the curb ASAP. Video games, FFS. Divorce him. Edited. Switched dump with divorce. If my spouse treated me that way, we wouldn't be married. Oh wait, he did, so I divorced him. Don't tolerate his abuse and disrespect. I hope Op isn't still kissing him with his unbrushed teeth and possible mouth infection. Poor hygiene, stays up all night playing video games, throws tantrums like a child. Why is this normal behavior for men these days? I bet he also doesn't wipe or wash his butthole, and had streaks in his undies that Op has to wash because women's work. I'd just tell him, cool. Don't talk to me and deal with your own problems. Imagine calling someone else a dumbass when you're too stupid to brush your teeth or go to the dentist when your tooth starts to hurt. Are you a doctor? He says to you. Lol. No, dumbass. Just a person with common sense, pointing out the very obvious. I hope he enjoys his fucking root canal.